That sad display took place just this past weekend with the former president. He appeared to confuse the Chinese city of Beijing with the self-governing island of Taiwan. He confused Jimmy Connors, a famous tennis player, with Jimmy Carter, the 39th president of the United States.
Would the gentleman yield?
No, I won't. This rant is not a singular event. Last January at a rally in Iowa, Mr. Trump incoherently stated, quote, "Think of it, magnets," end quote. And now all I know about magnets is this: give me a glass of water, let me drop it on the magnets, and that's the end of the magnets, end quote. During a series of March campaign rallies, Trump mistook the country of Argentina for a person, telling the crowd, quote, "You know, Argentina, great guy. He's a big Trump guy. He loves Trump. I love him because he loves Trump. Anybody that loves me, I like them," end quote. He also claimed that a poll was a legislative bill, and he called our country the United Stage, and he made a series of unintelligible noises when describing himself. Ding, boom, this is me, bing. It's not even clear if Trump knows which of his political opponents he's running against. Mr. Trump has mixed up President Joe Biden and former President Barack Obama on at least 8 different occasions. He bizarrely mixed up presidential candidate Nikki Haley with former Speaker Pelosi, inferring that Ambassador Haley was responsible for Capitol security. He can't keep straight the names of world leaders. In October of 2023, Mr. Trump referred to Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban as the, quote, great leader of Turkey, end quote. Republicans are intellectually and morally dishonest to criticize President Biden when their dear chosen leader, Donald Trump, presents with symptoms which are quite frankly scary. The American people can see through this Republican charade. This is just an ugly exercise to hurt President Joe Biden. Let's move on. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
I just wonder if the gentleman from the other side of the aisle is concerned that the additional aid that was voted on to go to Taiwan would cause that island to tip over in any point in the future.
You know what? I hope that the island of Guam is floating on water and not on diesel fuel. That's the point I was making.
Well,
I think that the gentleman might question my mental acuity, but let's look at your dear leader. Let's look at your
reclaiming my time.
Former President Trump. Let's look at
I belong to the gentleman from Kentucky.
Reclaiming my time. I have the utmost respect for my colleague on the other side of the aisle. The point I wanted to make is that sometimes we make statements tongue-in-cheek that we are, metaphorically speaking, and that the president most certainly in most of those cases was doing that, as we all have, Republican and Democrat, made statements that if you're taken out of context seem indefensible or ungrounded, if you will. Let me give an example. So the comment on the magnets here, if you give me a glass of water, let me drop it on the magnets at the end of the magnets. I've actually heard the former president, talk about that. And what he's talking about are electromagnets. So there was a discussion about whether the catapults on aircraft carriers should be steam-driven or electromagnetically driven. And it is true that steam is more reliable, that water would not affect the hoses, for instance, but salt water could affect wires that are driving electromagnets. So I think it's disingenuous here to offer this and take many things out of context, to take things that were said tongue-in-cheek, to take things that were said on the campaign trail and act as if they were meant to be taken literally, because we all, on both sides of the aisle, have said things before that were not meant to be taken literally. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yield.